Assalamualaikum to panelists and audience. Thanks to grace of Allah, we can gather today to talk about the topic that have been selected. I'm Siti Aishah binti Abdul Rahim and I work as Islamic department. Today I will be moderator for the topic the impact of marriage among youth. Marriage is a sacred bond that is indeed responsible for whoever is able. Recently, these marriage issues has gone viral because a lot of people married at a young age in this current MCO compared before the MCO. Before we go any further, let me introduce each one of the panelists. The first one is Siti binti Ridwan, a financial consultant. The second panelist is Ainashahirah binti Radzuan, a lecturer. The third one is Iwani Hazirah binti Desa, a police officer. And the last one is Farah Nabilah binti Muhammad Salahuddin, a chancellor. Without wasting any time, we continue with our topic, the impact of marriage among youth. So we want to know, when does it happen and does it good or bad? Panelist number one, please start the forum with your explanation.
Thank you for the moderator. In the pre-independence era, ending childhood as early as 40 years old for women and 80 years old for men is not a foreign thing but something common among all races. This young marriage changed after the country became independent. Young people are beginning to strengthen themselves, especially from the economic and educational aspect. Let's marry is no longer a shameful thing, but normal and increasingly accept the society. However, in this age of globalization, young marriage is back as a lifestyle. Young marriage are also often associated with positive and negative views from some quarters. In this COVID atmosphere, I do not recommend that young people should get married early in this challenge time with the current economy in the Malaysia. Because nowadays people are losing their job and it can lead to unstable finances in their life. When you get married, you had to use a lot of money. So you had some problem with your finances because you don't have a um, unsustainable job. Even half of us still studying. I'm not saying that young marriage are not good for teenagers, but some are not taking this marriage thing as a serious thing.
Okay, thank you, panel one, for the sharing. Marriage among youth is actually not a new thing in our era. It has been around for a long time, but it has a different situation compared to us. There's a lot of youth that married in this COVID era, even they knew that finances in our country are not in a good condition. So panelist number two, in your opinion, how does marriage at a young age motivated teenagers nowadays to get married?
Thanks to the motivator. In my opinion, I agree. People are married around young age. Okay. There are too many cases of continuity in Malaysia to prevent this from happening. Then Muslim teenagers get married early. Okay, let me start in my first point. First, family encourage early marriage. If their children marry early, they can control loss. Then their family can cut or reduce the cost of living. Second, to avoid adultery in Malaysia. Now we know cases of illegitimate child pregnancies are becoming more prevalent. Based on Allah said, La taqrabul zina. Don't approach adultery. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, panel 2, for the sharing. As we already been told that marriage among youth has its pros and cons that already been told by panel 1 and 2. Some are not taking it serious and some want to control us. So, panelist number 3, what do you think about marriage among youth based on these different reasons?
Thank you, moderator, for inviting me to attend the forum tonight. Youth is the best understood as a period of transition from the dependence of childhood to adulthood independence. That's why, as a category, youth is more fluid than other fixed age groups. Youth is often referred to a person between the age of leaving compulsory education and finding their first job. In Cambridge Dictionary, youth is the period of youth life when you are young or state of being young. Okay, we begin with marriage among youth. Marriage among youth have both positive and negative implications, but in my research, there are more had bad effects in marriage at youth. First and foremost, lack of education. In most of the cultures, the primary function of a woman is to give birth to children and run the house. Such necessary feature as education is thought to be unnecessary for them. The girls are detached from educational establishment and are obligated to be a good wife. It is forbidden to them to have even the slightest idea to continue studying. In addition, early marriage among youth exposed to the domestic violence based on statistics in 2017. A total of 5,513 cases of domestic violence occurred. This is the huge number had been recorded. Consider this situation. In India shows that girls who married before age 18 reported experiencing physical violence twice as often and sexual violence 3 times as often as girls who married at later ages. This should not happen to a girl who just about to enter adulthood. Last but not least, it will cause deprivation of childhood and future. More than anything else, early marriage deprives girl or their childhood. They are thrust into the full burden of domestic responsibility, motherhood and sexual relations rather than playing with friends, dreaming about a career or flirting about a school exam. As we know, in many countries after marriage, girls move away from their parents' home to live with their husband where they have no friend, no support and little say in their own life or in household matter. So this is some advice to all teenagers. Here is a piece of advice. Enjoy your valuable adolescence such as traveling, hiking, shopping and so on. Marriage is a huge commitment which will alter you to life from A to Z. Are you ready to bear responsibility on your shoulder? Think about it. Have a wise thinking before deciding to get married. Get married when you are ready, not because somebody push you or follow the trend. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, panel 3. Now we know that there is more disadvantage than advantage in marriage at a young age. It can also lead to violence issues. So panelist 3 gave some advice for unmarried teenagers by enjoying valuable adolescence and have mature thinking before deciding to get married. So panelist number 4, what is the solution or advice for young marriage out there?
Thank you to the moderator. I would like to share my opinion on solution for broken marriage, broken young marriage. Firstly, you should find yourself first before marriage. You should be patient and be strong because your choice of your spouse determines your future life. And you should develop yourself and get more closer to the Creator. Besides that, the golden rule before marriage is don't give easily your heart and mind to somebody else. As the moment you give those precious things, they can damage you into pieces. And as a friendly reminder, so you should not give those things besides Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. Secondly, you should develop your qualities. You should ask yourself, are you qualified for a marriage? If you do not know on how to communicate a better conversation, you cannot succeed in a marriage. You should know on how to talk, how to speak to your partner and your spouse, as they will be half of your life and your soulmate. Besides that, you should know on how to be patient. Whenever things go wrong or bad, you need to know on how to respond in proper way. Sometimes you need to do certain things that you might dislike before this, and you after you marriage, you have to simply just to do those things just to put a smile on your spouse's face. Last but not least, you should be kind and generous to your spouse or your partner. Otherwise, you should lower your voice when you're talking to your partner. That's all for me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, panel 4. So there is it, the solution for young marriage couple who had a problem. Based on our discussion today, the happiness of a household is not necessarily measured by the age of the couple, but rather by the way they manage the household is built. Getting married at a young age has its pros and cons. It is up to the couple to take it positively or otherwise. However, most young people are less educated on marriage issues. For example, finances, responsibilities, mental, and other matters. In conclusion, anybody who wants to get married at a young age should think before making a decision and have preparation in terms of mental, physical, financial, and other things that should be stable if you want a happy household. For every young married couple that getting through a rough time should be patient and persevering in dealing with household problems. For the lastly is thank you for our 4 panelists that gave a lot of guidance, tutoring, advice, and things that should be taken serious in our life. And also thank you for the audience for being there at first until the end. Hopefully we can learn from what they have shared with us. See you next time. Assalamualaikum.